So again, welcome everyone. My name is Quinn McCarthy with the Century Auto Group, and I'm honored to be here with you today to discuss the wonderful world of electric vehicles. We're very glad to have you here, and we want to encourage you to ask questions throughout the time together. We have some very smart people in the room that can answer any and all questions you may have about electric vehicles. We'll be showing off the Hyundai EV lineup later, and test drives may be available with some of the dealership staff. We'll also have maybe one break through the session where you can enjoy more food and refreshments and a chance for some one-on-one conversations with the team here. We also do have some folks here from Hyundai Canada who, along with our dealership staff, can help answer questions on Hyundai-specific questions. Oh, I do need the clicker now that I think about it. I'll get through the bumps, just our last session. Thank you. So I want to start by introducing our two speakers who are with us tonight. Mr. Daniel Breton, President and CEO of Electric Mobility Canada, and Mr. Patrick Nadeau, who will be talking about a trip he took from Quebec to Mexico in his electric vehicle, a Hyundai IONIQ 5. The main reason we put this presentation together is because there are so many half-truths or outright misinformation being spread about electric vehicles every day. Hyundai is a leader in the field of electric vehicles, and we believe it is essential to set the record straight and have a more in-depth discussion on the subject. So first, what is an electric vehicle? Some seem to think that the electric cars are kind of a spaceship, a new breed of car that must be studied and tamed. However, the principle remains the same. The electric car has four wheels, a steering wheel, lights, and turn signals. The big difference is the energy it uses. While a conventional gasoline car must burn fuel to run its internal combustion engine, the electric car stores energy in a large battery which is usually located under its floor. This battery allows the car to travel several hundred kilometers without emitting carbon dioxide. Quieter and generally faster than a gasoline car, the electric car therefore reduces its ecological footprint. And with a charging station at home, we can wake up every morning with 100% charge, just like we do our phones. With the advancement of technology, electric vehicles are currently being deployed at an astronomical speed. Just 10 years ago, electric vehicles were still seen as something rare, even unusual, which leads some people to think it is a new invention. However, the electric car has been around for a long time, very long time in fact. We have to go back almost 200 years to find the first documentation of an electric vehicle. In the 1830s, a Scotsman named Robert Anderson had the idea of putting batteries on a horse-drawn carriage. The car could barely travel a kilometer and the batteries were not rechargeable. The idea was therefore not really viable and was mainly used to get the neighborhood talking about a horseless carriage. Despite this, the idea was born. In the late 1800s, Americans in the Philadelphia area took the idea further by developing the Electrobat, which is now considered the first commercially available electric vehicle. By the turn of the 1900s, this vehicle was being used in various electric taxi fleets in the northeastern United States. The range of the vehicle was limited, of course, but the taxis were equipped with removable batteries that could be removed and replaced with another fully charged battery. Despite the interesting concept, the company faced many financial challenges and even eventually ceased operations in 1907. My favorite example of the potential of electric vehicles remains the Jamais Content. This is the car you see in the image at the bottom right. Shaped like a missile, this electric car became the first car to break the 100 km/h mark before any gasoline-powered car. You guys drove one, didn't you? I know you did. Despite all its potential, the electric car quietly disappeared from the map around the turn of the 1900s. Ironically, it was the advent of an electrical device, the starter, that propelled the gasoline car to market dominance. The starter made gasoline cars much easier to use. Before its arrival, you literally had to crank the engine manually. What was the manual? That's how you do that, I think, crank it. And of course, there was the price. By the time the famous Model T came along, the gasoline car was more a logical financial choice for the vast majority of motorists. The 20th century was therefore the century of gasoline cars. Despite this, the idea of electric cars never really faded into oblivion. More modern electric vehicle concepts kept the project alive. You see a few of them here on the screen, including the General Electric Delta, which was a response to attorney Ralph Nader, who had accused the company of deliberately hiding plans for a car that could reach 130 kilometers an hour and travel 320 kilometers. So here we are now in 2025, and the picture has changed radically. At Hyundai, close to 20% of their sales in Canada last year were 100% electric cars. And when you include hybrids and plug-in hybrids, it's 34% of their sales included cars that were electrified in one way or another. The fight against climate change makes the transition inevitable. We can no longer sit back and do nothing. At Hyundai, including luxury brand Genesis, they currently offer 7 different electric vehicles with an 8th soon to follow, the IONIQ 9. And this is just the beginning. Several countries around the world, including Canada, are aiming for 100% of our new vehicles sold to be electric by 2035. We appreciate that that's ambitious, but we know it's achievable. Thanks to technological advances, electric cars can now travel several hundred kilometers on a single charge. They can also be recharged in just a few minutes and are generally quieter and faster than gasoline-powered vehicles. Despite all this, there are still many persistent myths about electric cars that are being spread on a daily basis. To set the record straight, we've identified 5 persistent myths that need to be debunked. So now, to debunk these myths, it's my sincere pleasure to introduce our guest speaker. Danielle Breton is President and CEO of Electric Mobility Canada. Founded in 2006, EMC is the national industry association that enables and accelerates the transition to sustainable electric mobility through advocacy, collaboration, education, and thought leadership, with the ultimate goal of creating a cleaner, healthier, and more prosperous future for all Canadians. A former Quebec Minister of the Environment, Sustainable Development, Wildlife and Parks, he was the first elected official in charge of a government strategy for the electrification of transportation in Canada back in 2012. Involved in electric mobility for almost 3 decades, he graduated in sustainable carbon management and has written hundreds of articles and several books on the subject of transportation electrification, climate change, air pollution, and energy transition in the past 20 years. In September 24, he published a book called 50 Myths and Half-Truths About EVs. So while he grabs a book, we will do a big round of applause for Danielle Breton.
Thank you, Quinn. So, yeah, I've been at this for a long time. Funny enough, in 2016, I wrote a book in which there was 10 pages, a chapter on EV myths. And now my new book is 230 pages on EV myths, which means that, contrary to what I thought 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, there's more myths now and half-truths now than there was 10 years ago. Why? Because of misinformation and disinformation. I'm sure you know about that. So, let's go to the 50. No, I'm kidding. Let's go to the top 5 myths that we have chosen. First myth, myth number 1. That one is a funny one. EVs don't work in the winter. And here we are, Patrick and I, we drove 1,200 kilometers to come here in the winter with an EV without any issue. It actually went really well, even though yesterday was really slippery. And tonight I'm going to be back to Fredericton in a snowstorm, and there's no big deal at all. You know, reduced range in the winter conditions is not unique to EVs. Electric vehicles range has grown significantly in the past 10 years, from 110 kilometers to 400 kilometers and up. So range is always getting better. What sets Hyundai apart? Well, all Hyundai EVs have a range of over 400 kilometers, and they have advanced features such as heated front seats, heated steering wheel, heat pump, and battery preconditioning before fast charging. The advantages of EVs in the winter. Well, EVs always start regardless of the weather. I often had the opportunity to boost gas cars who wouldn't start in the winter when it was really cold with my EV. It's possible to preheat the cabin and defrost the windshield without polluting. The lower center of gravity of EVs provides better traction, and the linear acceleration provides better stability. Myth number 2. There aren't enough charging stations. That's true, actually. That's a half-truth. That's not a myth. We need more. But does that mean that we can't travel? Well, we just proved that we can. And I'm going to be next week around Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean. The week after that, I'm going to be in Toronto. And in 4 weeks, I'm going to be in Boston. All of that traveling with an EV. This is all I do. This is all he does. I drive 50 to 60,000 kilometers a year with an EV. So does he. What's the average kilometer driven in a year by a Canadian? 15. So we drive 3 to 4 times more with our EVs than the average Canadian. Although most EVs, charging takes place at home, it's the truth. When you charge at home, for Canadians, 80 to 90% of charging happens at home. So once you have a home charger, you're good to go. An extensive and reliable public charging network is essential for the widespread adoption of EVs. That's true. Canada's network of public charging stations continues to expand. As of December 2024, there were 32,000 plus public chargers across the country, and more are being installed almost every week. Hyundai recently joined forces to develop an innovative fast charging network that aims to install 30,000 plus fast chargers across the US and Canada. On top of that, EVs from Hyundai will soon have access to the network of Tesla Supercharger, 12,000 fast chargers. And that's a great network. So what that means is that as time goes by, it's easier and easier and easier to travel with an electric car. When I went down to North Carolina 8 years ago, it was an adventure. And the car I had back then was okay for the time, but nothing compared to today. So yes, we need more chargers, but it's not at all a make it or break it situation like some people make it to be. Myth number 3.
What level of charging is in most homes?
Level 2.
Level 2.
Yeah, level 2. 240 volts. So you can charge your car. Consider that since 91% of Canadians drive 35 kilometers or less to get to work on a daily basis, you plug your car to a level 2 charger, it'll take you 1 to 2 to 3 hours to get the car to be full. So if you start at night, before midnight, the car's fully charged. Number 3, EVs cause more pollution than gas-powered vehicles. That's a myth. That's a real myth. We are in Nova Scotia, where the grid is the dirtiest in Canada. Even then, we made the calculations with folks from the National Research Council of Canada. If you were to buy a gas car today versus an electric car today, over 250,000 kilometers, the GHG emissions of the gas car would be 4 times that of the electric car. If you are in Ontario, it's about 10 times. If you are in Québec, it's about 60 times. But wherever you are in Canada, even if the grid is partly coming from coal or natural gas, it still is greener. If you're talking about air pollution, because that's GHG emissions, but if you're talking about air pollution, what kind of air pollution comes out of the tailpipe of an EV? There's no tailpipe. So when you're talking about carbon monoxide and volatile organic compound, fine particulates, actually not much of anything except for the tires. Even the brakes emit less particulate because you use the mechanical brakes a lot less. So when we're talking air pollution and GHG emissions, you have a better situation with an electric vehicle. If you're talking about natural resources, some people say, yeah, you're wasting a lot of natural resources, all that mining. Actually, what's the percentage of a battery component that you can recycle with an EV? 98%. What's the percentage of burnt gas that you can recycle with a gas car? Nothing. 0. So it means that over the lifetime of a gas car, you will waste 300 to 400 times more natural resources with a gas car than with an electric car. So that's why EVs are much better for the environment. They're not perfect. If you want perfect, you walk or you ride a bike. But if you need a car, that's a better solution. 800-volt battery architecture. A lot of people don't know this. Most batteries in most electric cars have a 400-volt battery architecture. What that means is that because Hyundai and Kia and Genesis, the Hyundai family, they have this architecture, it means that it will enhance efficiency and reduce weight. It's a bit more expensive, that technology, but it's much better. Because by increasing the voltage, the current needed is much lower, enabling thinner cables and smaller electronic components. It will minimize energy losses to heat, thereby increasing overall efficiency, battery range, and charging time. What does that mean? Very simply, if you charge an electric vehicle that has a battery technology of 400 volt or less, it will take you longer to charge. As simple as that. So while most contemporary electric cars will charge between, for the good ones, 30 to 40 minutes, for the bad one, an hour to an hour and a half, for a Hyundai product, 15 to 20 minutes. When I went down with my Chevy Bolt in the winter, it would take me from 10% to 80% battery, an hour and a half. On my way here with the IONIQ 5, 20 minutes. At one point, it's so fast that sometimes I'll look for a slower charger so I have enough time to eat. That's true. Myth number 4, EVs are too expensive. Yes, the purchase price oftentimes is more expensive. But when you look at total cost of ownership, meaning maintenance, meaning the price of energy, the difference is significant. How much did it cost you to drive 800 kilometers from Saint-Jean, from your home to Saint-Jean? $45? 800 kilometers? If you drive a car that does 9 liters per 100K in the winter, quick calculation, okay? 8 liters. So it's 72 liters. Times, what's the price of gas here? 165? Well, I'm being nice. 165. $118 versus $45. And that's when you're charging on a fast charger. If you're charging at home, more like $20, $25. It's a huge difference. When you start calculating that, how much maintenance have you had to pay in 140,000 kilometers?
The wipers.
Wipers?
Wipers.
Don't tell me you had to change the wipers? Oh my God. The brakes?
Nope.
No.
Yes.
Oil filter?
Nope.
The oil?
Nope.
I'm kidding.
Air filter.
You change the liquid for the battery,
Then the liquid for the battery.
$700, and the wipers,
Yep.
140,000 kilometers. I think that says it all. Myth number 5, EVs aren't fun to drive. Well, if you've driven that thing in the back, you'll never say that in your life. The instant torque of an electric motor provides astonishing acceleration. The IONIQ 5N recently won the title of the World Performance Car of the Year, showing that EVs can be just as powerful, and oftentimes more powerful, than comparable gas cars. But nearly half of Canadians have never sat in an EV. I drive 50 to 60,000 kilometers with different EVs. Some are good, some are great, some are not so great. But when you're talking the Hyundai family, they make amazing cars. And I don't work for Hyundai. I know what I'm talking about. So, do you have any questions or comments?
The reconditioning of the battery before it's charged, could you put some of that again?
Basically, it's the computer that warms up the battery before you get to the fast charger so that when you start charging, it's at the ideal temperature. It's as simple as that.
As you're driving?
As you're driving, yeah. Yeah, you can pre-program it in the car computer. And that's stuff that more and more car manufacturers are doing, but not yet all of them. I mean, another brand, whose name I won't mention, not to hurt anybody's feelings, I saw the car being plugged. It was charging at 17 kilowatts. With this thing, I was charging at 238 kilowatts. It gives you an idea of time. So when the charger said, you know, the screen on the charger, the public charger said for that person, 2 hours for that person to charge our EV. And at that time, same car, well, with that IONIQ 5, 17 minutes. 2 hours, 17 minutes. 2 cars of 2024. So all EVs are not equal, to say the least. Any more questions?
What's the warranty on the IONIQs?
On the IONIQ 5. What's the warranty on the IONIQ 5? On the battery? 160. And the rest of the vehicle? 5-year 100, which is better than most cars. Well, if you have more questions, I'm going to be down there. Thanks a lot. If you are interested in my book, I have a special. It's $20 instead of $35. If you want to know about all, actually, I could have called it the top 50 myths because there's even more myths than 50, believe it or not. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I will now. You're done. Thank you, Danielle. I'm not talking about this, by the way. Yeah, I think we're probably good to just kind of keep going through. Everyone's okay with time and everything. So I'm really happy to introduce our second guest speaker. He's a true trailblazer in sustainable travel and immersive storytelling. Patrick Nadeau is the owner of Nadeau Photo Solution, a Quebec-based company specializing in creating immersive virtual reality experiences in 360-degree and 3D videos. His passion for exploration and innovation has taken him to breathtaking destinations where he captures and shares stories that inspire and educate. In 2022, Patrick embarked on an extraordinary 15,500-kilometer journey from Quebec to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and back in his Hyundai IONIQ 5 electric vehicle. This 116-day adventure showcased not only the reliability and efficiencies of EVs for long-distance travel, but also how they can support professional projects thanks to cutting-edge technologies like vehicle-to-load features. Patrick used this innovation to power his cameras and equipment, proving that electric vehicles are more than just a mode of transportation. They're tools for creativity and sustainable living. Today, Patrick will share his unique perspective on the myths and realities of electric vehicles, drawing from his own experiences. Whether you're a skeptic, a curious learner, or an EV enthusiast, Patrick's journey and insights are sure to leave you inspired. Please join me in welcoming Patrick.
So who wasn't here this morning? Okay, yeah, great. So I'm going to speak maybe a little bit more to you guys. So I'm Patrick. I did like 1,000 kilometers to come and see you here. I'm really happy to be here too, because if there's something that I truly believe is that the future of the car industry is electric. For those who know the electric car, for those who drive them already, I'm pretty sure they agree with what I say. And yeah, I'm here also to prove you that we can do long distance and it's far easier than you may think. Who owns an electric car here? Yeah, you do. Have you done some long trips so far? Not that much yet? Yeah. Do you have one? No? Yeah, you have one? Which model do you have? 5. The 5 too? Okay. So yeah, so why did I went to with the electric car? First, I was hoping to have an electric car in 2010, and when it pretty much came out a little bit before that, but they were so expensive, and I was hoping to find something that I could fit my family here in it. I have 3 kids, but at the time I couldn't find anything under $100 and even more than that. So when Hyundai came out with the model IONIQ 5 in 2021 on the web, I took a look to the spec, and I found out that this is really the kind of car that it will suit my needs for me and my family. But this time I didn't know the price. So when the dealer in Thetford Mines received it, I went to see them, and they told me the price. So I did some calculation. The choice was easy because at that time I was driving 2 pickup truck, 2 Ford 150. Sorry I don't have the same muscle than you guys. So I was driving that, and I was doing like 50,000 kilometers per year. And well, at the time, the gas price was $1.10 per liter. Now it's like, just like we said, it's $1.65, $1.70. So at the time, I did some calculation, and I found out that I was spending $1,400 per month in gasoline. And I put down a cash down of $5,000, and after that, I put the rest on the 5 years term. So I'm paying like $650 per month, pretty much. And today I'm saving more than $1,000 just for the gasoline without thinking about maintenance and all this stuff. So this is the price that I pay for my house every month. I have a nice house, but far, far away from everything. So yeah, that was easy to do as a choice. And my wife and I love to travel a lot. We've been around the world. We did a lot of continents. We used to travel with a backpack. That was the time where we were happier without the kids. But we love them. We love them. We love them. But yeah, and we always trying to escape the winter, few weeks, few months per year. And in 2022, I told to my wife, I want to create a new VR experience. So for those who don't know what is VR video, we create 360 video and 3D. Some of you guys have tried that, and it's like I'm teleporting you somewhere else. I told to my wife, I want to go there in the western part of USA, like Arches National Park, Zion, Bryce Canyon, Grand Canyon. I want to spend a month there without you, darling. No, and the kids. But yeah, she said yes, so it was good for me. But I told her I cannot be the only one who's going to go, who's going to escape the winter. So I told her why I could join you in Puerto Vallarta, for example, in Mexico. You take the kids and you go by plane. So that's what we did. So I did the road trip, and to get there, I'm just going to show you on the map. So I start from my city called Thetford Mines, and I did all that trip here, all around. It took me 3 months to do. Of course, this is a road trip. It wasn't just to go there and come back. So that's why I'm taking more time. So I did all that trip, which is 15,500 kilometers. And all this trip cost me $630 to do with charging fast charger. But a lot of time I was able to plug, like in camping, I was able to plug, there's plenty of free charger, some in hotel, some like here in Hyundai. So it's easier to find free charger than have free gas, for sure. So, and first, when I did that, when I took that decision first, I was thinking to go with the pickup truck. But then I started to think, can I do it with the EV car? So I took a look on the web, like some apps like PlugShare, ABRP. I don't know if you know them, for those who have an electric car. ABRP is a better route planner. So you just put your destination, and it's going to do your road with the charger that you need. You put the model of the car you have, and it will take that in consideration. So those are good apps to have when you want to do some travel. And even today with Google Maps, while you're driving, when you plug your phone, for example, you will see the charger along your road. So it's easy also to see them there. They are not all there yet, but it's coming more and more efficient to see them. So that's how I decided to do the road. I found out that it's possible to do all that trip, But of course, there's some challenge when you go in the desert, like Utah and Arizona. It's even worse when you go in Mexico, because on that road here, there's no public charger. So I had to find a way to be able to do the road. So what I did is I found out that there's some hotel that do have a level 2 charger, like you will have at your home or like they have here. So I booked those hotels at every 450 kilometers. So I booked those hotels along the way. So I was able to plug. And it happened 2 times that I had to stop to a dealership to plug the car, and maybe just to have like 10-15%, just to make sure that I will reach my next destination. So that's how I did it. And once I reached the condo in Puerto Vallarta, I just plugged the car in the 110 outlet. So it was more than what I need for my daily use. So it was the good way to do it. So it took me 3 days from the border here to get to Puerto Vallarta. But I took my time. And anyway, it's not recommended to drive by night in Mexico because there are some crimes and there's animals on the road. But the road is very nice. The highway, if you get out of the highway, is something else. But on the highway, it's even better than here. It's pretty much like USA, but with less traffic. But they have a lot of pay toll. So just to do that part, I think it cost me like close to $200 in pay toll just one way. So it's pretty much like an airplane ticket almost, but I had so much stuff to bring with me, so that's why I decided to go with the car too. So yeah, and on the way back, I never miss energy in the battery. I never miss electricity, but it's been close one time for all that trips. Pretty much right here in the desert, I had to do 465 kilometers between 2 hotels. So I took a look on the app's plug share, and I found out that there's a Tesla level 2 charger, which is a destination charger. And I had the adapter to connect my car to this kind of charger. But once I get there, the charger never worked. So I couldn't make it work. I never knew why, but I couldn't make it work. So what I did, I took a look again on the apps. I found out that there's another dealer a little bit further that maybe could accommodate me. Once I reached the place, I found out we are Sunday. It's closed. I cannot go. They won't help me. But the security guard, a nice guy, really tried hard to help me. He tried to give me access to the charger, but the door was closed, it was locked, so we were unable. So I had the decision to take. Should I keep going? Should I sleep there? Should I wait one day and plug the next day? Just have a few kilowatt in the battery. So I decided I keep going. So what I did at the back of a big van, a big truck, and for 200 kilometers, the truck was sucked in. Yeah, exactly. So I did that for 200 kilometers at 90 kilometers per hour, and I've been able to reach the hotel, the next destination, with 4% left in the battery. So that was the only moment that I have a little bit more of a range anxiety. But I did so far 140,000 kilometers with this car in 2 years, 2 years and a half, a little bit more than that. And it never happened to me that I miss energy in the battery. So for me, I'm not stressed. I could go to Montreal, come back, put 15% in the battery, go back home, 4% left, and I'm not stressed. So I know well the car today with the experience, right? So, and I also use while I was doing camping, because I did a lot of camping in the western desert. So what I was doing there, sometime I was in the camping with service, so I could plug the car. If you have an adapter, like the 240 volt adapter, you can plug your car and it's going to be like a level 2 charger. The same plug that they're going to use for a travel trailer. So I could plug the car like that. Or what I was doing too is a lot of time I was doing wide camping. So I didn't need electricity because I could use it from my car. With the V2L, vehicle to load, it's an adapter that you will connect next to your car, next to where you plug your charger, and you can use the electricity from that. So I was able to plug my computer, watch movie, go on the web, do some planification. Was able to recharge the battery from my camera, my drones, and I also had a plate like that, an injection plate. So I was able to cook. In 2 minutes, you boil water. So I was able to do a coffee along the road. So that helped me a lot to do some great camping. And also in the Western Desert, it's really cold in the night, especially at the end of October, November. Sometimes it was freezing, sometimes it was on -5 degrees. So what I did, instead of sleeping in the tent, I was sleeping in the car. So you have the utility mode, which is like you use the energy from the car. You can use the accessory. So I was able to put that at 21 degrees Celsius inside the car. And it's also soundproof, so you don't hear the birds in the morning. So I was able to sleep in the car at 21 degrees. I just had to flip the seat, put the mattress there, and I was doing pretty much wide camping. And for those who think if you get stuck in a storm like that overnight, you're gonna miss battery. Well, what I was doing that for 12 hours, 21 degrees Celsius inside the car and -5 outside, I was using 9% of the battery. So if you're stuck like that, I'm not scared. Tomorrow I'm going to be fine, I'm sure. So for me, it's a plus. Yeah, so those are kind of things that you can use and that will help in different way. Great. So, and just to show you a little bit what we do, well, we create VR experience, just like I say. It's like a big basketball. And there's 8 lenses all around it, so it can film everywhere at the same time. And you can create 3D experience, like you have your left eye, right eye, right eye. So we can create 3D experience like that. And we show those experience like in public library, schools, for people with disability, like in hospital, for home for seniors, and stuff like that. So like that, I'm able to travel, create experience, and show that to people. So we create conference like that. Yeah. Any question? No? So I hope you're going to be able to do some trip. I hope you're going to feel comfortable with the car, with the electric car, because just like Danielle and I think we can prove easily, even in winter, that we can do long distance. I still have like 1,000 kilometers to go back home, and I'm not scared at all to do that, not at all. Even to come here, I didn't take a look to the charger because I know I'm gonna be good to make it, so I'm not stressed anymore. You're gonna feel that maybe the first week. You're gonna use your car, but after that, you're gonna be fine, I'm sure. Right? No question? Thank you.
Thank you.
That's good, thank you. Okay, I want to thank our guest speakers, Danielle and Patrick. We definitely appreciate their enthusiasm and knowledge on electric vehicles and all that's possible with EVs. We do have an opportunity for people to kind of check out the vehicles here for a bit. If anyone is interested and hasn't seen them, we have some of our dealership staff here for a while, and there's definitely still some refreshments and drinks, and definitely the cupcakes. They're amazing. I think I've mentioned that before. Okay, well, I want to thank everyone for coming, definitely Danielle and Patrick, and definitely connect with our team if you're still here to obviously get some refreshments. We'll answer any questions and follow up with us anytime in the future for any questions you have. So thanks everyone for attending the Century Hyundai TEVTalks.